Hey guys, what's going on? Kyle Krieger here. So we are back and I'm excited because we're doing a Q&A today. I just finished my summer term for film school. I got straight A's, I know studio applause. September is a National Recovery Month. So as some of you know, I am 11 years sober in a 12-step program, and I am an addict. I used to use crystal meth and I used to drink a lot. I pretty much use anything under the sun, honestly. Let's be real. And so I like to openly talk about it because it saved my life. And I'm not even speaking in a hyperbole when I say that, because, you know, 3 or 4 of my friends that I was using with are now dead. And I feel like if I were to keep using, then that would have been my fate as well. So, number 1. Do you think there's a valid association to be talked about between the LGBTQ community and addiction statistics? The statistics I've read are that LGBTQ plus people are twice as likely than their heterosexual counterparts to suffer from drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and that to me is based on stress. You're fighting against a lot of inequality, right? You're potentially fighting against your family, right? And coming out to your family and not being accepted, which is huge stress. Fighting against employment possibilities, or going into your work as your authentic self and not getting the job, or whether or not you would be accepted to get an apartment, to get a house, to get a home based on, you know, your sexual orientation or your gender identity. Healthcare, right? Whether or not you're gonna have healthcare based on your orientation or your gender identity. Self-medicating with drugs and alcohol seems like an easy option or a quick fix. Anesthetizing, or, you know, using a substance that will help them break down the stress. For me, that's what it was, and I used crystal meth, alcohol. So this type of stress can lead to anxiety, depression, fear, isolation. I get it. I totally understand. I did it myself, and I don't necessarily think it's the answer, but I see why it is an option. What made you finally decide to quit and seek help? What is it the hardest part about staying sober, and what motivates you to continue being sober? Much love, Kyle. Thank you, much love back. Well, honestly, I gotta get real. You know, it was towards the end of my using when I had pretty much lost everything. Kicked out of school, so I didn't finish my first degree, which was in nutrition and dietetics. So if you can imagine me drinking, smoking crystal meth, and doing cocaine, and then going to class while studying nutrition didn't really work out so well. My world was getting much smaller. I was losing friends left and right. I couldn't really talk to my family that much. I never picked up the phone. I never texted, to the point where you can watch my TED Talk. It's linked in my channel, and that gives you sort of like the end all of what happened. It's been 11 years since I picked up a drink or a drug, so I don't necessarily have any desire to use drugs or alcohol, but what's challenging is sort of like balancing everyday life things. And then, you know, every now and then, a margarita sounds pretty good, you know what I mean? For me, it's just not an option. The hardest part about staying sober in the beginning was practicing the principle of don't drink no matter what. What motivates me is my whole life, really. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would probably be dead if I didn't get sober. So that motivates me to stay sober. What's good life advice you found to not swap one addiction for another? Vigilance. And a way that I do that is journaling, calling a friend, calling a sponsor, calling a family member, checking in with people, being vulnerable with people, letting them know what's going on with my life. And when I am telling people like this, like my YouTube channel, like my friends and family, discussing things that's going on with my life, when I am keeping myself accountable by telling people what's going on with me, then I also have constant feedback of people being like, well, didn't you suffer from that before? Or, well, do you think that this is, you know, just an extension of your alcoholism? And so it keeps me vigilant, it keeps me mindful, it keeps me aware of actions that I'm taking that could be problematic. Do you think it's possible that one day you'll be able to drink socially without addiction? To me, that's a hard no. I believe that I have an allergy to alcohol, to substances, to drugs, that once I take it into my system, that I have a craving that I cannot stop, and that there is no amount large enough to fill that hole. 1 is too many, and 1,000 will never be enough. The last question is from Rachel. She's a follower of mine. She's been a follower of mine for a long time. She is so sweet, and I think she's so great. How can a sibling be the most effective in recovery, healing, and sustaining sobriety? As adults, sometimes it feels like there is a fine line between supporting and enabling. Other than unconditional love, what can I do to be a part of the solution and not part of the problem? And I needed sort of that tough love, because I needed to lose things. Whenever there was people enabling me, I would manipulate them and I would continue to use and abuse our friendship or relationship to get what I wanted and to get what I needed. So very self-serving, manipulative behavior. I lost friendships, I lost family contact, I got kicked out of school. With almost losing my life was enough, right? Some people, I know that I'm one of the lucky ones, that people die and people don't make it, and I get that. And so I'm not suggesting that you kick them out of your lives, but I do suggest learn how to set boundaries that can allow you to live a life that doesn't hurt consistently from the addict. I knew I had a problem, but the issue is alcohol isn't the problem, alcohol is the solution, right? Like, it is the one that's helping them cope and deal with what's going on. Okay guys, thanks so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate it, and I'm so happy to have you be back sort of with you guys, to be able to have time to make videos. It'll be great. And September should be really good. I'm excited about stuff that's coming up. I'm making a couple films, and you know, I'll make sure you guys are informed. But thank you again, and I love you guys so much. Make sure you check out the links down below in case you have any questions about the stuff we talked about in today's video. And that's it.